dividing mixed numbers. And the thing that you have to remember about mixed numbers is how to convert them to improper fractions. And if you have this mixed number, 3 1/3, you multiply 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And so the answer is 10 over 3, and 3 stays your denominator. So you have to have these as improper fractions in order to multiply or divide them. And since we're doing dividing today, all of our mixed numbers are going to be improper fractions. So when you're dividing, you can think of it by using models. And but not all numbers can be used with models. It doesn't make sense. Maybe the numbers are too big or too confusing. But if you have a whole number like 6, and so if I were to draw 6 bars, 6 holes, okay, we all agree that that's 6 holes. 6 is represented by one of each of these, and there's 6. So I'm going to divide them into 1/3 pieces. And so that's into thirds, and I'm going to count how many ones I have. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's kind of weird. I've got a whole number, I'm dividing by a fraction, and I get a number bigger than my whole number. Well, that's because you're taking a fractional part and counting up each of them. So let's look at how you would do this mathematically without the model. So I would put 6 over 1. Okay, everybody remembers that. I need to make 6 into fraction form, and so that's 6 over 1 divided by 1 over 3. And then my rule for division is to leave, change, flip. So I'm going to leave 6 over 1, change my division to a multiplication, and then flip or find the reciprocal of 1/3, so that would be 3 over 1. And now I treat it like I would a multiplication problem. I go 6 times 3 is 18, 1 times 1 is 1, and of course this is just the whole number 18. And I showed you with the model why that is. So now let's look at a fraction divided by a whole number. So if I have a whole, and if I have 1/4 of that whole, so this is my fraction, 1/4, and so I'm going to highlight it. So this is all that I'm looking at is this 1/4. So I'm going to take and divide that 1/4 by 2. By 2. Oops. So I divide that by 2, so now all that I have is this amount. Well, how much is that of the total amount that I started with? Well, if I drew my equivalents, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 parts, and I have 1 out of 8 parts is my answer. And if I do this mathematically, I have 1/4 divided by 2 over 1. Go ahead and write it where it looks everything's fractions. And then I have 1/4, leave, change to multiplication, and flip, 1/2. And so this is 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 2 is 8. And so I do get 1/8, and that's what my model showed. But I can do it mathematically and just use the numbers. So remember to divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. Leave, change, flip. just look at the numbers. So just to get practice and make sure that we can do these problems with just numbers. So this is a mixed number. First step, I have to turn it into an improper fraction. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And that's thirds. And it's divided by, and 3 is a whole number. To get that in fraction form, I need to put it over 1. So this is my division problem. My rule for dividing is leave, change, flip. So I leave this, I change this, and I flip this. So now my answer, I multiply straight across, 13, multiply straight across, 9. Now this is an improper fraction. I have to turn it into a mixed number. To do that, I divide 13 divided by 9. That goes in one time. And 4, so 4 ninths. So my answer is 1 and 4 ninths. And it is a mixed number. And that makes sense because I'm taking a bigger number, dividing it by a smaller number, so I would get a number greater than 1. Okay, let's look at this one. So now I have 6 divided by 4 and 4/5. I'm going to put 6 over 1 because I want to get it in fraction form. Divided by, this mixed number has to go a fraction. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24, over 5. And now my leave, change, flip, I leave the 6 one, and I change it to multiplication, and I flip the fraction, the second fraction. Now, if I look at this, I can do some cross-canceling. I know not all of you like cross-canceling, but it's something that I can do. So 6 goes into both of these 1 time and 4 times. So I just multiply straight across, and I get 5/4. A little bit of an improper fraction. If I convert that, divide, I get 1 and 1/4. And again, I'm dividing a bigger whole number by a smaller mixed number, so I'm going to get a whole number. And there's 1 and 1/4, and this one was 1 and 4 ninths. So you're going to see these in word problems, and this is going to be very important. I want you to make sure and draw a model. So Burger Barn has 28 pounds of ground beef. Okay, so they have 28 pounds of ground beef. And so this is like having 28 bars. And I'm not going to draw all of them. And I'm saying 1/3. I'm doing them in thirds because each one of these is a patty that's a third. It's worth 1/3 of a pound. So how many of these will I get if I have 28 pounds and they go into thirds? So as you can see, each whole is broken up into thirds. And so my number sentence is 28 divided by 1/3. Now the math to this, I can draw 28 and count them up, or I can do it by the math. So 28 over 1 divided by 1/3, and I'm going to leave, change, and flip. And now I just have 28 times 3, which I have to come over here and do because I don't know it off the top of my head. 84, and over 1, which is just 84 burgers. So does that make sense? I have 28 pounds. I can make three burgers with each pound, so I can make 84 burgers. Now this one, Roberto needs some roofing tiles to be cut from a large tile. So he's got a large tile that is 70 inches long. And he wants it each, how many tiles that are each 4 3/8 inches in length can he cut from this piece? So we could do this and keep adding up until we got to 70, but that would be a lot of things to do. So this is 70 goes out and is divided by this many to tell me how many tiles. So 70 divided by 4 3/8. Now I'm going to leave, I'm going to put 70 over 1, and I'm going to find out what my mixed number, my improper fraction is. 32, 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 is 35, over 8. So I'm going to leave, change, and flip. Now, I can see that I can cross cancel. I could divide by 5, or I could divide by 35 and get 2 and 1. And so this would equal 2 times 8 is 16. So 16, if I kept drawing and drawing, 16 of these tiles that are 4 3/8 would make up 70 total amount. So that makes sense. So here's your homework check. It's a mixed number divided by a whole number divided by a fraction, which we didn't look at. This number is actually going to be bigger. Well, we did with the divide by a third. And then a word problem. A jug holds 12 pints of juice. That's the total amount. How many 1 1/2 pint bottles can be filled with that much juice? And I'm going to leave you to look at these and solve them and put them on your homework check.